A warm welcome to you wherever it is you're joining us from around the world. This is Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. I am Henry Igwebike. Right about now, we'll be moving to our newspaper headlines to see what they have for us, and right after that will be conversation for today. Well, we'll get all of that made for you. Please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com and also follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. With me in the studios today to analyze our newspaper headlines is Mr. Cyril Abaku. He is a public affairs analyst and also communicator. You're welcome, Mr. Cyril.
Thank you very much.
Good morning to you today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so quickly let's start up the newspaper headlines with the Nation newspaper, and the big story there says killings of monarchs, abduction of pupils in Ekiti draw outrage. And on the right there we have abductors demand 100 million naira. President directs rescue of pupils, arrest of gunmen. And also on the top strip of the same newspaper we have Tinubu orders timely end to minimum wage talks. Atiku playing cheap politics on national issue, and that's from the presidency as against the ex-vice president. And also 15 million naira in 1.5 million in Benue IDP camps. Governor Aya laments Abuja discos management sacked over poor power supply. And on the downstream of the same newspaper we have senators rep seek urgent action against insecurity. CBN pays $64 million airline forex backlog. Mr. Cyril, let's dig into this headline on the Nation that is a bit worrying. At a time when we all thought that the southwest of Nigeria is a bit safe, with the likes of Amotekun and the NCDC doing an awesome job, and also hunters in the forest also collaborating with Amotekun and the police, why are we having this gruesome act still in the southwest of Nigeria, particularly Ekiti State, where we have a monarch abducted and school children with their instructors?
Well, first of all, 2 monarchs were killed, one escaped. Our hearts are with the families. We pray that God will grant them the hearts, the strength of heart to bear the irreparable loss.
Amen.
We also have our prayers sent to the school children, the bus driver, their tutors, and the children who have been kidnapped. If this is anything to go by, these are toddlers. These are very
innocent.
To have them go through this sort of harrowing experience is, to say the very least, extremely inhumane. But again, when you look at states like, let's even say Ogun, or Oyo, we can say that in recent history, these are states that have been at the forefront of, or have been on the receiving end of the volatility that has greeted Nigeria's insecurity, the security landscape.
Why particularly? Why did you single out those states as
in a manner of speaking, you know that in fact it took the governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu, whose forests had been terribly affected by bandits, to spare their Motekun advocacy. You had in Oyo, where Igbo sprung from, because of everything that happened in the Baraka and all those places. So, and then Ogun congregates Lagos. We've heard of problems in boundary, in boundary communities and stuff like that. So these 3 states have more like me, but Ekiti is a bit more conservative. It's a bit more like in the interior of the southwest. So when this sort of thing is eating deep into a place like Ekiti, you're wondering, Ekiti shares boundary with Kogi State. You're wondering why, of all places, Ekiti, why this and why that. But again, it goes to show you that when a matter is left unchecked, even the most secure, most conservative, most rural and most isolated of places will not be spared. from Lagos to Ogun, from Ogun to Ondo to Osun, now and now we are seeing it enter Ekiti. I mean, you couldn't even imagine. In the Ekiti state case, those pupils have been kidnapped. But those other 2 people that were shot dead, the kings that were killed. But so I don't think that's terrorism. That's murder.
Okay.
That's murder. In fact, community leaders have said that was murder. The police in Ekiti is also saying that they also think that they're also thinking in alignment with the community leaders that what happened to those 2 kings was pure murder. You know, like I said earlier,
it wasn't for ransom actually. Is that
they
demand for a ransom.
No, they were killed on the spot. They were not taken and killed.
They were killed on the spot.
They were killed on the way from Emure Ekiti where they had gone for a meeting.
Okay.
They were killed, so people wanted to kill them. It was not as if.
Oh.
Yes.
Assassination, so
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Something of the sort. And then the 3rd king escaped. We don't know how he escaped, but he managed to escape. So sometimes people can hide under. How was the former military man, Mohammed Shoa? How was he killed in Borno? It was broken under the guise of Boko Haram security. Some went and just killed him. All right. So sometimes when it's like when it's raining heavily, somebody can carry water and pour on the road, and you think everything that was real. That's where we are now. People are now hiding under the banner of insecurity to commit all kinds of crimes. But the police must be up on their feet to separate oranges from apples, and then deal with each issue as the case will require. But going back to Ekiti now, I can only imagine how powerless Governor Oyebanji feels. You're the governor of a state. You're supposed to come out and rally people to be able to quell a particular insecurity case, but it has happened. You don't command police. There's nothing you can do. So when the governor came and said people should relax, that they rescue those children, or they are going to pay. There's don't make that. You know that there are 2 things. One is released, one is rescued. They are going to pay. They are going to pay. You know I said they are going to pay. Didn't they pay in Abia's case? Didn't they pay in to rescue all those school children that were kidnapped in the north? How would we be paying?
So is that supposed to be a better solution to the problem?
I am not here to discuss ethics. I mean the ethics of paying or not paying, but people pay. Half the time in Nigeria, people are kidnapped. They pay. Why won't you pay?
So the question is, if everyone is allowed to pay, then why do we have a fully funded security architecture?
Didn't we have the case of Edo, or was it Delta State, that a police DPO was kidnapped and they paid? This is the sad reality of it. And it is the money you pay that they use to rearm, recruit, regroup, and reattack. So when the governor keeps on giving assurance, they will be rescued or not, let me tell you, already there's a channel of communication, because we've had them say they want 100 million naira to feed those school children. Parents cannot. In fact, I mean, how will any parent feel when you have 7-year-olds and 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds being kidnapped? Some parents will even sell their houses. We saw it in Abuja. A whole family was kidnapped. Then the kidnappers freed the wife of the man to go and sell the house and come and pay the ransom. See, Henry, my real contention, as I always say, is that Nigeria is more policed than you can imagine. And when I mean police, I'm not talking of the Nigerian police force. Police as a verb. Nigeria is more policed than you could ever think. And I always say that all these things that always happen, and government apparently gets to know when we also get to know, shows that there's no government in this country. If they are aware, they ought to be seeing these things before they happen and make them in the board. When they gather for the intelligence meetings, what do they really discuss there? When they say we are opening the State Security Council meeting, what do they really do there? What do they do there? All the crimes that have come to the industries, Boko Haram, militants and all of that, were perpetrated because those who should be fighting and stopping it were the ones who are actually colluding actively with them and perpetrating it. We've seen times that come to accuse the Nigerian Navy of being involved in oil bunkering because the extent of oil theft can't be carried on at the level it's being carried on if people who should be stopping it were not involved in it. We saw instances in which they said that a particular vessel came to Nigeria to carry crude that was what almost how many liters, humongous, a vessel that is bigger than some villages in Nigeria put together, and that nobody saw it. That's a lie. It took everybody to tell us that all the oil produced pumped out was it from the Bonita terminal, that 90% of it was being stolen. That's not theft. So when kidnapping is happening at this rate, the police station in those places, they don't get intelligence. They just sit down there on generator. Well, from 7 to when it's 4 p.m. they close and say they close and they go.
So what you are insinuating actually is that there is some sort of collusion.
No, what I'm insinuating is government should first of all come and tell us that they didn't see this coming. And when I mean they didn't see this coming, police, in all these people who are involved in security, they should say that then we don't need to can ask, have we been giving money for police intelligence? And has money been trickling down? And if it has been, how did the police not see this coming? That's my own. See, in London, you may hear of a knife attack. Because somebody just took a knife from his house and said, I'm going. So you may never see that coming. I mean, really, it was a one-man thing. Somebody entered the bus and began to drive and maybe drove into even that one. Yes, but I mean, that is if you acted alone. But that people took time to plan something, targeted the school, gathered intelligence, and you didn't see that coming. Or that when it happens, the only thing we can do is to pay ransom. The money you will spend to get intelligence is less than the money you pay for ransom. So I don't buy it. So
can we say is this as a result of can we blame this on the economic crunch?
Please.
In Nigeria, please. Or is it a case of individual morality that it's not?
Yes. The one could be feeding the other, but in the end it comes to choices, which is personal. So for example, I think the late Professor First CIA wrote a book, a novel called Violence. I think in it he said, he was asking, was it Violence or one other book? He said, are you wicked also, or are you wicked because you're a soldier, or you're a soldier because you are naturally already wicked? So the question will be, the insecurity, the challenges we have. Is it that these people are already naturally kidnappers and thieves and armed robbers and bandits and terrorists, and the cash crunch is being out of them, or that's who they really are, but are using the cash crunch as a cover to do what they are doing?
So in your view, which of them do you think?
No, in the end, it is who they are naturally.
The case is?
It is who they are naturally, because no matter how bad things, there are those who keep their dignity and decency. We need to become a nation of decent men and women, and it's possible. If only government will look at the preventable, how to prevent this from happening, rather than trying to cure it after it has happened. We can do that. Okay, but nobody should use cash crunch and say, well, kidnapping children. However, if that happened to him and they said he came to rob your house and steal your child because he was poor, we need that argument. So this is where we are.
All right, we move to the Punch newspaper today, and still on the big story, kidnapping epidemic. Abductors demand 100 million naira from Ekiti school children and teachers. Police, NSCDC, Amoteco, OPC, hunters form joint task force, arrest 5 suspects. On the top slip of the same newspaper, 200,000 naira minimum wage no longer realistic, and that's coming from the Labour Nigeria. IMF foresees weaker growth in the country, and from Cardoso, Naira plunges in official market. CBN warns of forex dealers. Mr. Cyril, let's talk about this issue of Naira plunging, and Yemi Cardoso, who is the CBN governor, instead of facing the remote problem, is like a method, equally blaming on forex dealers for the problem. Do you think that is in the right direction?
No. So what he has basically said, he is admitting now that we are farther from the problem, from a solution, than we ever were or ever could be.
So blaming the forex traders is closing the gap?
Are you employed as CBN government to blame people when you are a regulator?
That is the issue.
Is that what you should be doing, to be blaming forex traders? It's funny, isn't it?
It is.
You are blaming forex traders. I'm supposed to be the one implementing the law against those who are doing what is wrong. So that's what I said. It's clearly now shows that we are not working towards a solution. Sometimes my heart just bleeds on account, and I wish I had the power myself.
Because I have always asked, I've always questioned on the credibility.
Please hold on. A Nigerian president must be a man who summons the courage to rewrite the law, the constitution. By whatever means necessary, he will have to rewrite this constitution.
He has.
He will have to rewrite it. Having rewritten it, it will be in one hand. Then he must be a man with a very, you know when they say build the big stick, he must have, he should hold the trunk of a tree in his hand and say, here is the law, let's all work according to it. If you won't work according to that law, what will he do? He will unleash the tree trunk on the head of anybody who will not follow him. So that way, when those who are in the position would have given way, they would have given way, then you will have a nation of willing men and women who are determined and courageous enough to face the truth and live by it. Anything other than that is this. You see, let me say this. If you went and checked from 2015 to 2019, no, to 2023 under Buhari, the same headlines are the same headlines that we are now witnessing under Tinubu.
But this is worse.
The same thing.
It's worse now.
Yes. You know, trouble is trouble. Wahala is wahala. It's the same family.
Yeah, but the gravity is sometimes what we're talking about.
I mean, how what was it like when we woke up and had that Nigeria was not the poverty capital of the world?
But if you would remember, between 2015 and 2023, when Buhari left, the dollar was standing at 200 naira. 2015, when he left, it was 750. In Tinubu's administration, less than 1 year, it grew from 750 naira to 1,500 naira. So let's talk about the gravity and name the problem with the name it should be called.
So under Tinubu,
yes,
it is indeed worse, we know. But where I'm going is that there was nothing glorious about Buhari in any way. Okay? And Tinubu is also working that part now, clearly. But that if you went back to check the front pages of newspapers from 2015 to today, it's the same stories, the same things. No solution, problems, you give them to more problems, compounding themselves. Just no, there's nothing. And you will see proposing to, planning to, directing, instructing, and we don't, well, believe me, Henry, with the work structure we run in this country, the most significant development can be delivered. It will not happen. It's not going to happen. You see the people the president brought to his cabinet. How many institutions have we targeted for reform? CBN governor now doesn't seem like somebody who wants to reform the CBN himself. Okay? Under Buhari, the CBN was handing out loans to individuals. Where has that ever happened in the world? A CBN. And so you find that the CBN now, we're not reforming CBN. We're not reforming anything in any way to say Nigeria is opening up to new ideas and fresh. We're not opening up a fresh vista for anything. The people the president appointed to his cabinet, look at them. They like the former governors he put there. They will go with the one of Zamfara with the great big corruption case on his head. The one from Kebbi. What will I say about that one? Most of them, all of them, rank and file. One died in less than 8 months. A minister who was appointed into the cabinet had to be suspended. I wonder why she was never even sacked. Now,
talking about your analogy of wielding a big stick, Peter Obi once said that there's nothing you wouldn't want to be called an excellent person when there's nothing excellent about you, or there's nothing, you can't want someone to call you excellency when there's nothing excellent about you as a person. Yes. So with that, do you think the president currently is good enough to play along with your analogy of having reconstituting or redefining the constitution and having something to hold it on?
So for any leader to be his own man and to stand out and to stand firm and to effect change, you need to go and check how he came to power.
Oh, good.
In the case of Russia, President Vladimir Putin, excuse me, after he was helped to come to power, he decimated all those that brought him to power.
Okay.
But one of them ran away, fled into exile. One day they asked him, how about some person? He said, who is that? at a meeting said, who is that?
So can we say the governor style? So can we say the governor style is?
I think the president is surrounded by those by people by personifiers of IOUs. You know what an IOU is? Somebody does it before you say I owe you. So there are too many IOUs on the president's cabinet, and IOUs don't come to do anything. IOUs come to collect debt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are debt collectors. They've come to say, Mr. President, thanks for. I mean, we did the favor. Now you return the favor. So they are there to chop. They are there to work. And as long as we have that, I mean, what do you expect from them? It's just what it is.
Really, really, truly unfortunate. Now let's move on to our last daily for today, and this is coming from the Vanguard newspaper. And still on the big story, worsening insecurity, kidnappers abduct pupils, teachers demand 30 million naira. On some other headline, it said 100 million naira, but for the Vanguard is saying 30 million naira. And on the top strip of the same newspaper, we have new minimum wage negotiations reckoning with situations in West Africa, and that's the committee coming from the committee chair. And on the top strip of the same newspaper, we have IMF downgrades forecast for Nigeria's 2024 economic growth to 3%. Mr. Cyril, let's talk about the role and the functions of the IMF, especially as it concerns, countries in the global south. But I would love you to do a juxtaposition of Nigeria as against Rwanda. Rwanda seemed to be doing awesomely well. Nigeria not so very well. I want to believe every of these countries is administered by the IMF. So what is the difference? Why are we? Why is the forecast on Nigeria not looking so awesome? While other countries like Botswana, like Rwanda, same in the African continent, are doing so well?
No. So I don't think you meant to put it that way by saying administered by the IMF. What you mean is that the IMF is working with them, right, as consultants. As consultants.
Oh, okay.
To advise, basically, because when you take their loan, they become consultants. They advise you on where to put the loan into, so that it doesn't become a bad debt. Okay. Now, so when the IMF comes and says, we're going to give you so and so amount of money for a loan, right? Any serious-minded person who is a lender doesn't just sit back and say, you want to take a loan, take. That's how they do it. You must have good collateral. Then they must be involved in what you're doing with the money. Not that they want to make profit, but they must make sure that you're putting the money in a viable business that can help you, ideally. So when you go to the bank and say, I want to take a loan, they ask you what for. You tell them it's okay. The banks can even provide services for saying, okay, see where you should put the money. You make more money here and here. Then they tell you the risk mitigation, risk management. It's part of what banks do for you. Okay. When they give you loans. So the IMF naturally wants to play that role. But in the case of Rwanda, okay, Rwanda's distinction or excellence is driven by the personal determination of the government or people, or the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, to be excellent, to be thorough. He has a vision of the country he wants to create, and so he's able to create that because it's first on his mind. Now, let me ask you, when you say the word Nigeria, what comes to your mind? Just in a word. You will not answer me.
It's rhetorical.
Yeah, but just you think of it as telling whether it's a good thing or something else. When you think when you hear the word Nigeria, what comes to your mind first?
What comes to my mind is corruption.
Okay, good. But when you hear words like Rwanda or America, what comes to your mind?
Tourism,
prosperity, growth, freedom, growth, possibilities, potential.
Yeah, exactly.
So how can Nigeria move from corruption, where something like nothing works, to where everything can work? It's leadership. It's about government. It's about examination. Are you aware that before President Buhari left office, there was an IMF loan that had been taken, and part of what it was going to be was for girl child empowerment, education, women empowerment?
Well, there's nothing bad about that. Do you think so?
There is everything arguably very wrong about it. Those are things you can't measure at the end. How do you measure it?
Are you telling me if countries like Rwanda take up that mission, they won't see a logical end to that?
In Nigeria, the 5% in Nigeria, where is the data? No data, right? Or tomorrow they will say that the people they gave the money to, they are ashamed that their pride will be humiliated, so they said they should not write their names. That money will go to the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Humanitarian Affairs that they've not been sacked from the chair, they've stolen how much payment. Why don't you plow this money into industries and into commerce and into trade and into agriculture, for example? Because in a country without data, how do you, people in IDP camps, how do you open them? The next thing they said, the money was for that they are collecting loan for women empowerment. I just told myself, this money is for their pockets. So we must change our approach to governance. We must change it and begin to think like a country of serious men and women who are ready to take on the world, on the global stage. There are about 12 advisors on President Biden's cabinet. They are Nigerians. You have Nigerian lawmakers, parliamentarians in the UK. But if those people are in Nigeria, would they have reason to left the roles in America? Most likely not. Most people have been one PA to the minister, people who just
PA to the PA.
You will never hear. So these are the challenge until, and look, even security. Are you not supposed to think Nigerian police does not have its own 911? It's not there. For instance, that's police that normally if police had an emergency, you call and say, I'm under distress. Once you see, they don't even, if even they ask for your address, they should be able to quickly, triangulate or find know where you are and come and meet where you are.
True.
But we don't know that, and believe me, if you want to do that in Nigeria today, you know what I'm going to say? They look for a contractor who can supply. Come on. You're not ready yet. And then what Ghana or Zimbabwe will buy for $10 million, Nigeria will buy for nearly $100 million.
Very, very truly unfortunate, if you ask me. Well, that's just about the time we have for our newspaper reviews today. I'd love to say thank you to Mr. Cyril Abaku for being part of our program today. And when we return, CBN redeployed a staff to resume work at Lagos office February 2nd. The Central Bank of Nigeria has disclosed that in a bit. When we'll come back, please don't go anywhere.